Hello, Aries, and welcome to March 2025 reading. My name is Steven, and welcome to Soulfire Tarot. All right, let's get going with the reading. Today, I'll be incorporating tarot cards as well as some wilderness animal spirit guide cards, psychic tarot cards, and the blind spot cards produced by Teal Swan. And I will also be utilizing a obsidian orb for enhanced psychic awareness and depth during the reading. All right, let's see what's going on in this theme of March 2025. Yeah, I feel like you might be coming on a decision about something that you feel has come after some drastic change. Something you might have feared or unexpectedly figured out that is relating to your work. We see the Ten of Wands here, kind of signifying gatekeepers or guardians at some gate, some threshold. Could also represent, some fears and hesitancy about going through with something, passing through something. But then we also have the Wheel of Fortune here. Like fortune favors the bold and the ready. All the different things that you've worked on, experienced, and kind of cultivated and harvested in your life. Relating to something recently, perhaps during this month, relating to some kind of drastic change, but that change might be coming to pass. I think for some of you, you might still be in the process of figuring out whatever this, facing this guardian, facing this Cerebus, kind of, so to speak. And some of you might be feeling kind of hesitant, or you need to make right on your opportunities in carrying this disc, this pentacle. This is the Knight of Pentacles. We see him being witnessed by the stag in the background there, being observed and supported and kind of having guidance, instinctual, intuitive guidance, whatever that might be. That could be people in our lives. That could be something online. Yeah, and we see the Prince of Pentacles from the Knight, or the Prince of Pentacles. So although there might have been some hesitation about making a move on something related to work or finances, this card here is encouraging us to take the proper steps necessary to be able to pursue our dreams. And I feel like this connects with the Wheel of Fortune, right? Like every little thing that we do in preparation counts, in this wheel of karma towards, the fortune that we may attain. And pulling on the Ten of Wands with this, the video froze a bit. With the Ten of Wands here, I'm seeing it's telling me to encourage you to follow your passions, and let that inspiration flow, that warmth, that blazing heart, your enthusiasm about something, your confidence is a positive energy that can carry you through what kind of obstacles and threshold there might be towards fortune. Let's see, I'm going to draw on the Tower reverse here. This one right here. Yeah, so we have the Two of Cups in reversed. This might be questioning something to do with partnership, whether that's work, possibly even relationship. It might be bringing into focus a question about like how our, combined energies from different people filtering and factoring in your life? Are you open, to be able to receive, or have you been doing the work you need to combine the energies that you have working towards success, which I see in this theme? So this is suggesting that it may be wise to work to see how to balance how you're combining perhaps like work life. Like the people like to think, like, okay, I'm going to keep these things separate, right? But they both affect each other, realistically. Yeah, let's draw one of these animal cards here. Theme of guidance for Aries, the sign of Aries, 2025, March. Yeah. We have the crab card, Cancer sign. Yeah, so I'm feeling like this is suggesting like taking care of ourselves, but also being caring with each other, having sensitivity and nurturing things, finding that balance to kind of temper the flame or the kind of resistance we might feel, or the obstacles, the roughness, whatever it is that we might be facing and encountering in life. And I'll pull from the Psychic Tarot here. Yeah, we have the Disruption card. So yeah, it seems like we see this picture. There's this man. It might be hard to see, but he's kind of fragmented in these sections. It looks like tattered rags or papers, and he's bonded in some way. So yeah, I think there might, for some of you, be a theme going on where there might be a sense of fragmentation, or it could be a theme about bringing together the parts, like accounting for the different things, that factor into the results we achieve and bring forward with our karma, and to be in a receptive and sensitive state, whether that's cultivated through self-care practices of taking care of yourself. That could be like taking a nice warm bath. I love to take Epsom salt baths with baking soda, which will help further alkalize and purify and energize the body, reducing stress. Find that when I do that, the days after, or even if it's just after a stressful day, just really helps like neutralize everything, to be in a more grounded basis. Let's see here. I want to pull more for the tarot cards, though. Yeah, so working on your craft here, whatever it is you can uniquely bring forward with the Three of Pentacles here, like work and achieving certain things, building certain things. It takes time, it takes precision, it takes dedicated effort and a certain kind of consistency, right, to build these stones that will build this wall, whatever the structure might be reflecting for you. And that's coming up underneath the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So even though things might not be working out so quickly as we might have expected, it's really going to be, hate to say it, it's just, hard work. Practice makes perfection, and progress over perfection. Bit by bit, our efforts go into the wheel of karma. And especially if some of you have experienced a drastic change of sorts, or are afraid of some kind of change that has been coming, that has kind of perhaps left you feeling a bit fragmented or disrupted, the grounded regularity of doing this work, again, with the Prince of Pentacles, I see this with the ox, and this man who is kind of enjoying the journey, step by step. It's not getting there the fastest necessarily, but it's stable, sturdy, and reliable. Yeah, lovely. Yep, and we have the Seven of Swords in reverse, which might be signifying that there could be, maybe some of you have been experiencing a challenge where the alliances that you have, the people in your support network. Perhaps some of you have been feeling that that's kind of been lacking. So I see that this card actually might be encouraging, which I think could come through kind of an emphasis on self-care, reaching out for support, finding support in connection and relationship, whether that's just, connecting emotionally with another person who will be receptive to help kind of like nurture and nourish you and help, tend to your heart. But also vice versa, being of service and taking out of like the self mode and being there for other people. Sometimes that can bring great positive karma and benevolence into our lives from being in a place of service where the divine can work through us. Let's see, and with the Wheel of Fortune, I want to draw one more here. Yeah, interesting. So we have the Two of Cups to the Three of Cups. I see that part of the key towards fortune here is the proper combination of energies and forces, finding a balance here. We see the two golden chalices, this woman pouring them together into one that is stable and sturdy on the ground here amidst a field of wheat. So this plays on themes of cultivation. And again, I think that's pretty clear here with these cards of, focusing on this. So I'll draw one more psychic tarot card, and then I'll do a obsidian depth reading into the themes and the energy here for your sign, Aries. Excuse me. A little hape beforehand, and wow, that was potent. Yeah, so this is about harmony and reaching a state of harmony. This beautiful, touching intimacy, harmony, things in balance, peace, order, prosperity, a kind of serenity and acceptance. So yeah, I'm seeing that kind of as like the overlay theme here for this month of March for you, Aries. So now I'm going to tune in with the obsidian and see what I might be able to channel further into this. Yeah, so this has to do in totality with assessing and accessing structure, finding structure in a support network. This relates, the energy I'm feeling in this reading for this month is relating to more so kind of like the long-term kind of structuring for the development and the conveyance of what's going to support you and how you can support other people, how we give and receive in life. And that's a beautiful thing. That's awesome to see into. Yeah, the spirit is definitely telling me that, trust is one of the keys here. Trusting ourselves, but also finding people that we can truly trust and rely on in this time of change. And as you're kind of structuring, rebuilding and developing whatever it is that you've been working on, Aries. Yeah, and also I'm getting a thing about like conveying partnership, or it's like a theme of like building alliances, but doing it in a way where it's not necessarily polarizing, but rather like empowering for people, like giving out in a way and serving others in a way where you may be empowered from transmitting that, but it will also in return serve to empower other people. And then I think that relates to this kind of like whole like structural like building, whatever that might be. Yeah, and I could see that there's definitely some fear around whatever this gate, this threshold is. We might be coming up against certain opposition. This could be something from the past. This could be something with work, something personal within ourselves, in our own, inner psyche. Yeah, I'm seeing that some of you, not for everybody, but there's a theme of travel, and there's some kind of journey, and that might relate to some of the fears here. But again, like I'm feeling an angelic presence that is saying like trust and faith. And then oftentimes like taking a great leap when we're aligned with our intuitive guidance, whatever that might be, that there is a great benevolence that may support and surround us, being in faith with that spirit from within ourselves. Yeah, and there's also something about like for where there may have been tragedy and some kind of disruption with partnership. I'm seeing that that's where this theme of care and mending and the fragmentation, it's important to take care of ourselves and do the grounded kind of things that we can do, even if we're grieving, to find harmony within ourselves and to begin to rebuild a kind of structure and stability for where we can grow to meet more people in our lives who can support us. Yeah, and ultimately, it's kind of a theme of transition as well as transcendence. You know, ultimately, some way or another, it's all serving us what happens in our lives and how we show up for that. So, lastly, I'm going to do a reading with the Oracle Blind Spot cards, which might help shine a light in some of the shadows, perhaps, to raise awareness. We have the 45. Yeah. Yeah. So if we see here, interesting. Let's see what that is about. The filter. If you have drawn the sigil, you are seeing the situation at hand through a filter and you don't even know it. As a result, you are not seeing the situation clearly. All of us have a perspective, yet perspectives are limited in that unless we are using a totally objective perspective, our perspective is subjective. An object will look different depending on what perspective you have of that object. Each perspective is a different angle on something. Our perspective shapes our experiences, and our experiences shape our perspective. We could look at an objective perspective as an amalgamation of all subjective perspectives relative to something. A child will have a totally different perspective of the family home than the parent will. A doctor will have a totally different perspective about a medical crisis than the patient. You can imagine subjective perspective to be like looking through a single telescope. As if our subjective perspective were not limited enough, what makes us even more limited, and the view through it is less accurate, is that we also see the world from our limited perspective through filters. As if looking through a single telescope at the world isn't bad enough, the lens we are using has a filter on it. This filter may distort the reality of whatever we are looking at. We can recognize the limits of someone's perspective and see their filters. However, we have a very hard time recognizing the limits of our own perspective, and we have a very hard time recognizing our own filters. It's definitely true, and a lot of times, it's like fish in water kind of scenario. You only have limited perspective through our experience, and that's where, being subjected to other people's perspectives around ourselves can be incredibly valuable and shedding light and giving us insight and better clarity about how to orient around a situation or subject. Let's think about like education, right? Like a highly educated position, let's say in like hard math or physics or something, right? Or something with social science. There's tons of nuance on around it. It's going to try to aggregate an objective, as objective as a view as it can, just to kind of like clearly, neutrally, present a view of reality as close as we can. A filter is literally anything that shapes or distorts our perception of something. They can be thoughts passed down to us, information we are fed, beliefs we have been conditioned to adopt, ways the information is presented to us, experiences we have had, and meanings that we assign to experiences, just to name a few. We begin adopting filters for a telescope even before we are born. And not only do they distort our capacity to see things clearly, to see what is real, they can also ruin our lives. Interesting. For example, let's imagine that at 3 years old, a child is attacked by a dog. I was attacked by a dog when I was 4. But this isn't about me. This will create a filter that dogs will attack them that could persist until adulthood. The rest of us who love dogs will tell you that this experience is not only rare, it is entirely avoidable if somebody is actually doing the right thing with their dog. We all have kinds of other experiences that shape our perspective that dogs are wonderful and much less dangerous than people. But the filter through which this person sees the dog can shape their entire life relative to dogs. They will see dogs in a totally inaccurate way, even though that experience occurred to them. It's not the total picture. Or, for another example, a child might have a super loving experience with her mother. As a result, she sees the universe through the lens that everything is there to support her. She may not even notice people who are around her with her best interests in mind because this filter, which she sees through, sees the world as such. Some of these filters are beneficial, yet some of them may be detrimental. But regardless of whether they are beautiful or detrimental, the things to be aware of is that they are not necessarily accurate. They might just be totally distorting our capacity to see what is real. Every filter we adopt will change the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves. Every filter will shape our life experience, the things we think and say and do. There's nothing in this world more dangerous than a subjective perspective that is mistaken for objective perspective. There's nothing more dangerous than a filter that distorts our capacity to see what is real. If you have drawn the sigil, you have a filter that is distorting your capacity to see what is real. You are mistaking your distorted subjective perspective for objective perspective. Question your perception and step outside your limited and highly individual perspective relative to the situation. Consider every other perspective you can relative to the situation at hand. Fascinating. All right, Aries. Wonderful. I feel like I am complete here with this reading for you for the month of March 2025. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. I'm curious to hear how this resonated with you or not. Thanks.